Facebook is the next highest source of traffic to those news sites. We see that business decision makers are consuming business content on Facebook, and in fact, we're driving really strong results for marketers in this space.
Great. And are you seeing people spending more and more these days with Facebook?
The investment.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, on average, we typically are delivering, 40% greater efficiency when we're looking at like a versus display search blended model of cost. So really, as a performance marketer, if it works, the investment increases, and it works.
Charles, I know you've tried sort of a number of ways to do advertising on the B2B side. Any sort of insights you've drawn so far on that front?
I think it's all about targeting the right folks and having the right relevant message. And then making sure that where you're landing the people is where they're expecting to be. And then being able to understand buyer preference. So are they spending more time on LinkedIn? Are they spending more time on Facebook, other sites? And personalizing there based on the channel that they prefer. So those are the things that we kind of think about. How do we push those forward?
Great. So Brian, I mean, obviously you sit on the other side working across many channels. How are you, traditionally, I've been in B2B marketing now for the last 20 years, and we've been sort of entirely focused on sales and emails, but it's really changing a lot now.
Yeah,
how do you think about that from Marketo's perspective?
Yeah, it's interesting because in the old days, and when I say the old days, I'm really talking about like 5 to 7 years ago. Things are changing so fast, but it used to be, you would bring in new names in your database with advertising, and then you would nurture with email, and then at the time you passed it over to the sales organization, and then someone would pick up the phone. And I think, Charles, what you talked about is exactly where marketing is going. Marketers are realizing that technology is enabling you to bring your channels together and to give people a more cohesive experience all the way through the buyer journey. So rather thinking of channels for solving specific use cases in the buyer journey, marketers are realizing, I can use the web, I can use social, mobile, email, through most of the stages of the buyer journey to create a more cohesive and consistent experience, but also a more personalized experience because of all the data that you're now able to bring together from all the interactions around these channels.
That's great. So, and how do you start thinking about bringing all of that stuff together? Is it, if you're a marketer and you're starting to think about that, any sort of recommendations?
Yeah, I do have a set of recommendations, and so for full disclosure, Marketo is not just a partner of LeadSpace. We're actually a customer as well. And we practice account-based marketing at Marketo. I think no one in this audience would be, surprised to hear that. And and essentially what we're helping marketers and ourselves to do is really do this personalization that you need for ABM at scale. So you need to be able to target the right accounts, engage people cross-channel, and then measure the results. But it all hinges on knowing what are the right accounts. And so we worked with LeadSpace for our SMB segment to identify what are the right target accounts that we should be going after to improve a pipeline and revenue. And so essentially what we did is we used your data analysis and modeling to understand, for the accounts that we already knew, which ones should we prioritize, and for all the other accounts that are good accounts for us to go after that we didn't know about, how do we know about those accounts? Then we bring them into Marketo. We do all the magic of our engagement marketing platform. And I got to say, it's been very, very effective. We have doubled our ASP for these accounts in this list, and we have also increased our win rate by 45%. So the combination has been very effective for us at Marketo.
Great. So one final question, and then we should open it up to any questions from the floor. So, I think we've got Microsoft, Facebook, and Marketo. So 3 fantastic, huge companies. I know probably in the audience we also have, some people who don't quite have some of your resources, even though I know you guys always complain that you don't have enough resources. As you think about, how do you take advantage of figuring out who your audience is, building an audience management platform, if you're not Microsoft or if you're not Marketo, any tips? I know everyone wants to come away with what would be a couple of things that I should do tomorrow to start thinking about how I continue to take my marketing and my sales and marketing engagement to the next level. And Charles, if I start with you, please come
Yeah, great.
on the panel.
Yeah, so even though Microsoft might appear to have limitless resources, we're still very, very much constrained internally. So we have to turn a profit. That being said, I'd say probably a few things. The first is getting really focused, understanding what your business goals are, and using those to drive focus and not go and try and do everything. We're all involved in the MarTech industry, and we know there's hundreds and hundreds of new vendors coming out every year, if not thousands. And so it can be really easy to get distracted. So understanding what you need to accomplish and then really doubling down on a few big rocks instead of trying to throw pebbles, because the pebbles aren't going to make the waves that you need to make to grow your business. The second is, I'd say, if something's not working, don't be afraid to pivot. And sometimes you can have this escalation of commitment where you're like, oh, I put so much time and energy into this thing, not realizing that that's necessarily sunk cost. And you need to be authentic about yourself and how things are progressing or not progressing, and be ready to kill something, or be ready to continue it, double down on it, or pivot. And then the third, and this was particularly at Microsoft, and I think other large companies, was, we started this journey about 4 or 5 years ago, and I can't count how many times people told me, no, you can't do that, or you need to integrate with this system, or you need to do that, or that's definitely not going to work, that's not how we do things here. And if I had listened to that, Microsoft wouldn't be where they are today, and we wouldn't be seeing the transformation. So not being afraid to persevere, you still need to have an open mind, because maybe you are wrong. You still need to listen and continue to question, but really kind of pushing through and driving the change that needs to happen.
Well, I would definitely agree with what you said in terms of being focused on what your objectives are. I think that becomes really important to get clear on what that is. I think from Facebook's perspective, there's really no barrier to entry to start. There's no minimum cost. So really being able to have a spirit of learning and continuing to get rooted in that objective and then learn based on the performance. If I'm sitting in your shoes and I'm looking to find net new prospects, if that's one of my objectives, there's a lot of power in lookalike modeling. We have a ton of data on Facebook that we leverage in our algorithms to help you find customers that look like your current customers and your most highest value customers. So I would definitely recommend that. And then the last piece is to not shy away from innovation. If we look at some unique opportunities between sales and marketing now, one thing that really excites me and my team is around Messenger and the opportunity to really shorten the sales cycle and complement the things that you're doing in email or in some of your nurture campaigns. But Messenger really presents a unique opportunity. And if we layer on top of that AI and how bots can help us qualify leads now and help us shorten that time between I'm interested as a prospective buyer and I'm connecting with a salesperson, or I'm getting more resources directly with a company, I think that there's a lot of power in that.
I would say to spend time developing your ideal customer profile and understanding what the buyer journey is. We are moving to a world where you're going to be able to automate, and you can today, mostly one-to-one journeys. And as artificial intelligence begins to be used more and more, it's going to take a lot of the heavy lifting off your shoulders, but not all of it. The more you understand your customer and their buyer journey, the more you're going to be able to develop the content that a system like Marketo uses to personalize those one-to-one journeys for your customers. And so spend time thinking about and getting to know your ideal customer profile and what that journey is at the highest level, abstracted into stages, and what a customer needs during each of those stages.
Great. Well, look, thank you very much. I don't know if we have time. I don't know if we have time for just one or two questions. Is there any one or two questions that we can take at the back? Can you